No hablo.
All of his co-workers were gone.
¿Qué hablo?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¡Ah! ¡Una persona! Era lo que yo quería ver. Una persona.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Una persona. Literal, mi cara de sorprendido es...
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
No puedo pasar por ahí, me parece. Pero creo que por acá está la persona.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Supongo que también se podía doblar. Bueno, veamos qué...
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm
Se
sure
ríe conmigo,
it's just
chabón.
the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
No puede ser que haya elegido el final más puto largo. Justo cuando tengo que
Is it broken?
ir
What's going
terminando
on
el
here?
stream.
Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Si él está preparado, yo me preparo con él. No pasa nada. Me imagino que vamos a estar acá un rato.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Me gusta porque como que se están bardeando así.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Es la primera vez que puedo saltar. Y hay un contador. Claramente voy a saltar todas las veces que sea necesario. Y veremos. Agradezco que igual por el micrófono no puedo... Uy. ¿Listo? ¿No puedo saltar más? Sí. Agradezco que la barra espaciadora no se escucha en el micrófono. Otros. Okay. Bueno, por lo menos no es algo que antes no podíamos haber hecho.
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for entering.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for
La
no
nota dice
reason
gracias
other
por
than to make
disfrutar el
an
nuevo
easy
contenido.
dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended. I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks.
Yeah.
Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
No. Ah, lo reinicio solo. Oh, es diferente. Nuestra oficina sigue siendo lo mismo. Y esto ya. No tengo muchas cosas. La vieja oficina.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Hay luces. No voy a ir por ahí, voy a hacerle caso. Ahora somos amigos. Ah, no, las luces eran mentiras. Ok. Hola. Ahí está.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
Más lindo.
Take a look.
Wow. Wow. Llegamos al final. Igual habría otro final también. Y hay que hacer... Wow. Todo este procedimiento de nuevo, pero...
I call it the memory
¡Puedo
zone.
caminar!
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the
¡Puedo
peak
caminar!
experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Wow. Si acá habría pancito caliente. Ya, se ponía a pensar en comida. Hermoso. Hermoso.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Está mal la hora, otra vez. ¿A qué le pongo la hora? No tengo hora favorita. Para la próxima. Ok. Es como un museo. Ya. Me hace recordar a... Ya, el jueguito en disco, no. Me hace recordar a... Wow. Hola. A... Un episodio donde de Gravity Falls donde entra a memoria de Stan. No sé si lo conocen. Dale. Es hermoso este lugar. Oh, hay un ratoncito. Un piano. No me puedo ir, así que... Es como como los créditos.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was.
Bueno, pero
It
este no
was
está tan
literally
mal.
every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore.
Wow.
It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
No. ¿Y yo ahora puedo bajar? No puedo bajar, era toda una bromita. Bueno, continuamos. No.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Puedo entrar. No, no puedo entrar. Quiero entrar. Ok, no, no puedo. ¿Retrocedo?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Pero ¿por qué me hablas? Ayúdame a pasar por la puerta. No puedo subir a ver por lo menos el traje del niño. Bueno. Dios santo, uno de los finales más largos de la vida.
Hang on.
Esto
I
está
don't
bien.
recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
No sé, veamos. No.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Claro, no creo.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Ay, qué susto, pensé que se me caía la pantalla.
I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Okay. Me gusta más igual. Ya estábamos muy encerrados, como ahora podemos investigar algo. Más o menos. Estoy obligado a ir por donde me dicen que vaya, pero...
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
No.
You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me.
No.
Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure.
Oh,
Like
no.
I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
No, Don, usted no es inservible. O sea, peleamos un poco, pero... No pasa nada. Ahora éramos
What's this one
amiguitos.
got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Eso puede ser.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that.
Oh, sí,
If
sí.
I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.